Erika Zini presenta Bookmania.
Interviste, anticipazioni e consigli di lettura per il tempo libero.
Go tell a friend.
Bookmania, dove il libro è protagonista.
Un saluto a tutti e bentornati all'appuntamento con Bookmania. Oggi parliamo di un libro che ci ha davvero rapiti. Si intitola Le cronache dell'Acero e del Ciliegio di Camille Monceaux. Io spero di aver pronunciato bene il suo nome, dopo glielo chiederemo perché è proprio qui con noi l'autrice per parlarci del suo primo libro che si intitola La maschera del no, pubblicato per Ippocampo Edizioni a partire da domani in tutte le librerie. Ma diamo subito il benvenuto a Camille perché è proprio qui con noi. Hi Camille, thank you for this interview.
Hi Erika, it's very nice to having me.
I hope my pronunciation of your name will be correct.
It was perfect.
Okay, thank you. Your book is about to be out in Italy, and we are so happy to have this opportunity to read it before it will be out. First of all, this is your first book, despite demonstrating a certain maturity in writing, and we would like to know you better. Tell us something about yourself and your passion for writing.
I guess I've always wanted to become a writer ever since I was a little kid. I was quite lonely when I was younger, and I loved reading. I was always with a book, and I read really a lot of books. And I think I had this huge fascination for writers and people who write stories. And I think, like, from the age of 6, I was thinking, oh, it would be so cool to one day to write stories.
What's the genesis of this book? What inspires you to write the story of Ichirō?
The genesis, I think, was it's quite a long story to explain, so I'm going to try and make it short. I had first started to write a novel when I was 19, which was set also in Japan, in medieval Japan, but it was not a very good book. It was my first try at writing, so it was poorly done. And when I first started this novel, I really wanted to, so it was actually my second time trying to write a novel. I really wanted to do it properly. So I took the time to have a storyboard and to really think where I wanted to go. And the first image I had of this story was actually of Hime, the girl, the heroine. She was the one I wanted to write about, but I really want to have a mystery around her. So I figured the best way to have this mystery would be to write from another point of view. And that's how Ichirō came into life. And the more I started writing and the more I got into the story, the more I really got fond of Ichirō, and I think I poured a lot of myself into him.
And another very strong passion of yours is Japan. How does it started? What fascinated you about this Asian culture?
It's quite hard to explain, I guess. It's kind of like when you fall in love with someone, like love at first sight. It started when I was younger, and I discovered the Miyazaki from the Ghibli studio. Like Mononoke and Chihiro. I don't know the name in Italian or in English, I'm sorry, but I really loved those movies. And then when I was around 18, at a time when I think it was difficult for me to fit in and I felt awkward all the time with my friends, with my family, I discovered the mangas and I started watching animes. And I really loved it. It was an escape. It was a window on another country and another culture. And when I moved to Paris to continue my studies, because I'm from Bordeaux in the south of France, and which is quite a small city. And when I moved to Paris, I discovered that there was I don't know how to say it in English, there was a whole district in the city of Paris, which is for Japanese culture. It's in French is Le Quartier Sainte-Anne. It's a place where you have a lot of Japanese restaurants, a lot of Japanese shops, Japanese travel agencies. And it felt like I had discovered a whole new world. It was amazing. And so I started studying Japanese with a private teacher. And I also discovered in Paris the tea ceremony, the chanoyu. And it was an amazing moment. I felt out of time and completely seduced by the purity, the beauty of the tradition. And that's when I thought, okay, I really want to go to Japan, because at that time I had never been to Japan.
And in your book, you immerse us in ancient Japan, in medieval times. Why did you choose this setting?
So I have a degree, a licensed degree in history. So I guess I'm quite a history nerd. I really love doing the research, and it's something, and being in the books and trying to find the true facts. It's really something that I find very amusing. And I also discovered the Japanese literature when I was doing my studies in Paris. And I especially loved a Japanese writer who is called Inoue Yasushi, and who wrote a lot of books about that specific historic time of Japan history. And I really fell in love with his books. And then I moved to Japan. I lived in Japan for a year after my studies in 2014 and 2015. And when I was in Japan, I had the best time of my life. It was really awesome. And I clearly remember that, so at the winter of 2014, it was the 400th anniversary of the Battle of Osaka, which is one of the big battle of Japanese history. And so we went to Osaka with my husband to see the commemoration that was happening. So they had a kind of a show of lights and music to celebrate that anniversary. And I think that gave me the idea to write the whole story. I wanted to write about this specific period of time, because it's a time when a century of civil war ends in Japan. In the 16th century, it was a time of civil unrest, and there were a lot of wars between clans. And in 1600, there is a big battle, Sekigahara, and after that, a new power emerges, and Tokugawa Ieyasu becomes the shogun, the warlord of Japan. And so it's a time of big political change, and I really wanted to write the story of young persons living that time, which is kind of in between a culture of wars and civil war and a peace which is yet to build.
And Ichirō is the protagonist of your book. He is an orphan raised by a teacher who taught him the way to the sword, and an old woman, Oba, who serves the family. May you tell us more about Ichirō?
Yeah, so he's quite special to me. I really, like I said, I think I put a lot of myself into him. He's quite lonely. He loves the forest, the nature, but he's lonely not by choice. He's lonely because he was raised this way. And one of the biggest struggle he's going to face is how to live in the world, how to make friends, how to trust, how to understand the world from which he was cut off from a very young age. And I think some people have told me that he's quite naive. And I know that some of the characters say to him at some point in the novel that he is indeed naive. And I think that was a trait of character that I was when I was younger, and I'm trying to work on it. But I think he's kind of naive in a good way, because he's innocent and he doesn't want to see the wrong in people.
Yes, it's a very interesting character, Ichirō. But one night, however, Ichirō loses everything and have to face the world outside without really knowing it. You also have no clue about who he is, who he really is. Your book is also a story about identity and how to find our place in the world. In this case, in a society so deeply unequal, is this a topic you wanted to explore?
Yes, definitely. The quest of Ichiro's identity is going to be really important throughout the series. It's really something I wanted to write about. And as you really, I think you really put it into word, it's how to find your place in the world. And I think it's really something that I wanted to write about because it's something I experienced in my own life, in my own experience, how difficult it can be to find your own place, to truly know who you want to be, to truly know what you want to do without listening to the society telling you what you should be, what you should do. And especially at that time in Japanese history, when the castes, the system of castes was so important and so heavy. You were born a peasant, you were going to be a peasant all of your life, and you were born a samurai, you had to be a samurai all the way through, no question asked. And that's something I really wanted to write upon. And the importance also of the parts of society that are despised, like the artists and musicians and prostitutes, who are and were at the time really completely despised. As I said, I wanted to give them a voice and to show that there are several sides of some people, several sides of a story, several sides of how you can be and how you can interact.
And it's very interesting. And the story of Ichirō is also a tale about nature and freedom. Ichirō loved his childhood surrounded by nature. Your description about where he lives makes us want to move to the countryside. Nature is hard, true, obviously, but leaves you free to follow his rhythm. But in society, he realized he cannot live the same way. What do you think about it, about the freedom and nature?
Yeah, I think, it's really something that is completely, I don't know how to say it. I think it might be something that I experienced in my life, that I grew up in the countryside, I grew up in the nature. And when I moved in Paris to pursue my studies, it was quite weird for me to live in the big city. And even during my high school, I always felt a big difference between me and my sisters, who were surrounded by nature, and the people who had grown up in the city. And we didn't have the same codes, we didn't have the same references. And I think especially even more at the time of my novel, and even more for Ichirō, who grew up completely secluded from the external world. For him, discovering the city and the big city of Edo, it's a complete shock. And so at the same time, you have a freedom in the nature, because the nature doesn't judge you. You can be whoever you want to be. When you are walking into the woods, the trees are not going to put labels on you. But at the same time, in the city, it's where the human art thrives, and where the kabuki is born, and where you can find poets and musicians. And it's in the city that they happen, I think, because it's where you can find the people to watch these arts. So at the same time, the city is a place of, not a prison, but a place of less liberties, and also a place where Ichirō is going to discover some human arts that he had no clue about.
In his travel, Ichirō meets a mysterious character who wears a mask. Can you tell us something spoiler-free about this person?
Yeah. So yeah, Hime is the first character that I pictured in my mind. She was the one I really wanted to write about, and yeah, she's quite a special person, and I think they have a special bond with Ichirō through the kabuki theater, and first through the no theater, but it's thanks to theater that they can connect, because her dream is to go on stage and to play a role in a play. So yeah, she's really a character that I loved writing about.
We do not reveal anything else but about your book, which we recommend everyone to read, and we have to show this beautiful cover. But I ask you one last question. What would you like the reader to keep with them after finishing reading your book?
I tried to put a lot of things in this novel, and like we said, especially the importance for young teenagers to have the ability to think for themselves. And I think everyone should cultivate that and try to see that some things even in our society are completely constructed, like gender roles, for instance. And if you don't do the work to try and see the things differently, you can end up living a life that is not satisfactory, or that could have been very different if you had tried to listen to your inner voice, I guess. So that is one of the things I tried to put in the novel. But when I started writing it, and when last year we were working on it with my publishers, we had no idea that the coronavirus was going to take in. I mean, who could have? And it was impossible. And so, for instance, for me, right now I should have been in Australia. We had planned to go in Australia for 1 year and then to travel a few months in Japan. So we could not, obviously. And I think maybe right now, my hope with this novel is that it can allow the readers to travel in a time where everything is uncertain and dreams are very hard to have, because we don't know when we are going to be able to have freedom again to go wherever we want. So I hope, my book can allow people who want to travel, and more specifically who want to go to Japan, to travel to Japan for a few hours of reading.
Yes, we can confirm that we have traveled with your book in the ancient Edo time. It's a very, very good travel. Finally, here's your virtual microphone to send a message, if you like, to your Italian reader, hoping we can soon meet you in Italy. We know you like travel, so why not?
I would love to come and visit you in Italy. I love Italy. I've traveled in Italy a few times, several times, and I think so. My one dream would be to live in Japan one day, and my second dream would be to live in Italy one day. It's such a beautiful country, and I wish I could speak Italian. Maybe one day I will start taking lessons. But I think my message to my Italian readers would be thank you, because it's my first translation. And it's really something to see your book translated into another language. It's very moving and very thrilling, and I really hope that the Italian readers are going to love it. It would really make me very happy. And if I have the chance to come to Italy and promote the book, I will do it gladly.
We will be glad too, because we fall in love with your book, so we are very happy. And we know you are working on the sequel, because this is the first in 4 books. So we wish you the best of luck, and we wait for them. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you so much, Erika.
Erika Zini presenta Bookmania.
Interviste, anticipazioni e consigli di lettura per il tempo libero.
Go tell a friend.
Bookmania, dove il libro è protagonista.